Hi everyone, my name is Tracy. I'm your host for Healing Starts With You, an astrology and healing program. Today I want to talk about a period in my life where I needed healing, right? I didn't know where to turn. And sometimes we turn to people, right? But at this time period of my life, the person that I really turned to was Jesus. Okay. And I'm going to tell you our stories. So my story. So what happened is, when we have seasons of life, so when we're small, we're just learning from like 5 to like 10 or 12, where it's like almost like Gemini season where we're learning to talk, we're learning to walk. We are curious. We're learning about everything, right? Then when we go into our teen years, it's kind of like a darkness time where some people get into drugs, they get into all these different things, and it's like a learning period, right? Then we come on to our 20s where we're like, you know what, I'm gonna start having a job and being responsible and sometimes you have family at that time. Then we come into our 30s and it's like we learn so much through life, but sometimes we don't know who we are. Okay. So for me, I had like 3 young children plus an older daughter. And I was going through a very, very difficult time where I really had nobody to turn to, right? So I just started in a new church. And so I was a new member and I was full time at my job. I did a lot of nursing, but I had this young child that had cleft palate and I was like the only one in my town that was the first one to have a child with cleft palate, and I had no one to turn to. There is no really resources that I can tap into at that time. And we were always in the hospital, always going for therapy and doing so many things. So it was a period in my life where I was like, can I actually do this? Am I worthy enough? Am I actually a good mom? Can I schedule everything and do everything? And I was almost like not falling apart, but you felt like broken, right? And I didn't know if I can even do what I can do each day, right? So because my youngest son had a lot of challenges and it's like every day I had to walk with faith that everything was going to work out. And this was probably a difficult thing for me, is to walk in faith every single day in that time period. And it was also my Saturn return. So I was learning a lot of lessons in that time, learning about acceptance, about balance, about I had to lean on somebody else, right? I was always leaning on myself. And at this time I had to lean on somebody else. So what I did was, and for me, which was very, very healing. Now, a lot of people aren't religious and that's okay. A lot of people have different faiths and that's okay. But I leaned on Jesus at this time. And I have to tell you that it was the most wonderful experience because when I felt broken, he always picked me up. When I felt unworthy, he was always there for me. When I felt that I couldn't go on because I had like so much at that time period, he was always there for me. And so this was so healing for me because when I couldn't find any resources at that time, there was nobody I can really count on. He was the one that I counted on. And I'm so, so grateful for that time period because, of course, now my son is okay. And we went through that period. And sometimes, when you feel unbroken, you just feel that you just can't reach out to anybody. Right. And so I don't know if there's anybody out there that felt the same way as a young mom and going through difficult times. Like, what did you do? What kind of healing did you use in that time period? Okay. So this is what this show is all about. It's about astrology and healing. So for me, in that time period from my 30s to right up to my 40s, actually even beyond, a Saturn return. And I really, 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 really had to dig deep in my faith. But also I wasn't looking after myself. So my Saturn return is in my 6th house of working and health. And I kind of neglected myself really at that time period. I didn't do anything for myself because I was go, 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 go from the time I got up all the way until I went to bed. So I was very weak in spirit and I was eating like tons of chocolate. I was drinking pop all the time and I really wasn't looking after myself. And what happens with the Saturn return is when it comes back again, so for me, it would be when I'm turned 60, I have to really think about my health and the way I view things and how I work. And this is really, really important. So it's so important to find out where your Saturn is in your chart and learn as much as you can about that. Okay. So let me know what you think and subscribe to my podcast. Okay. Thank you.